are you doing? So, I'm getting ready to head out, or I'm heading out right now to a location that I wanted to do some photography in. Finally have a combination of factors that are working in my favor today, so hopefully lighting and everything else is maintained. So trying to control nature and making it do what I need it to do or what I would like it to do. But I'm pretty excited about it. I enjoy the subject matter of dilapidated and falling apart and breaking down, and also that kind of aspect of experience in combination with the progression of a city. Where I live, I've lived here my whole life, and my city is not one that has had much growth except for in the past, like maybe 10 years, at most at 10 years. And so I'm seeing a lot of change, and a lot of the old is being wiped away for the new. And it's being a person who really genuinely appreciates the old, the timeless, the vintage, the truly vintage. It's a little heartbreaking to see my world change so quickly, but at the same time I've learned to embrace it. But I realize that this idea of capturing this part of life that falls apart and decays is actually something that's going away, because that's seen as, the trash. That's seen as like the throwaway, and I really realized that in order for me to capture this, I'm going to have to get on it, because these are things that are very gradually being taken away and replaced with brand new, and the old is no longer there. That dilapidated vintageness is gone. And so I am embarking on a personal venture of capturing that imagery and hopefully doing it justice. Yeah, so it's pretty exciting for me. There's a few old houses I am personally been very fond of and in love with, old homes. And it's funny because when we were looking for houses, the houses that I liked, no matter what state they were in, no matter if it was completely a feasible thing or not, the houses that I really liked were the ones that were old, that had been really lived in. And of course those don't work out, because those are the ones that, for whatever reason, you just can't, it's not a good investment unless you've got a lot of extra funds to go towards that rehabilitation. So I had to settle for a newer home, but I still love old homes, and I discovered one the other day that is in a wonderful house, and it's actually it's in an area that is just now being developed. So the property that's behind this old house is turning into a subdivision. It hasn't yet, but I know it will be very soon. It'll be that. But funny enough, in the old house looks to me kind of like a old kind of plantation home or something. Definitely mid to late 1800s. And just such a pretty house, and it's white, it's two-story, and I want to call the architecture like colonial, I think, but I don't know my architecture genres by heart, but I do love old architecture and all of that. But so hopefully I'll be able to get out there and take a picture of that, get some shots of that. But funny enough, because of people's owning property that may be in these, falling down states, they still hold them as extremely valuable, because the land itself is worth the money. And the old buildings that are on there, for whatever reason, are kept in purpose and a use for varying reasons. There's this old warehouse here that it's super cool. It's actually been there for a really long time, and it's completely rusted and falling down. It's next to the train tracks. I think it used to be something that offloaded and took in from the tracks from trains that came by, and it is super cool. And I, a few years ago, went there to take some pictures, and of course, it's in the middle of our city, so it's in the downtown area. Well, the property is well managed in the sense that they keep it high value. So they have a guy who lives on the property and secures it. Basically, he watches it, and so I went over there and to take pictures, and as soon as I showed up, the guy immediately came out, started doing his thing of holding the territory, holding the ground, and the whole warehouse is surrounded by a fence, except for on the one side where it's closed off. The building is sealed up, and it was such a letdown because the inside of it's super cool. When I peeked in, it was just beautiful. It would have been really nice to get some shots of that, but I found out later on that old warehouse actually has been used in movies, and people who have, I guess, a lot of money rent it from the owners and use it in its state as vintage, as that whole old school feel and rusted tetanus type of look. So I love that, but at the same time, it's such a popular thing in a genre that it's hard for people who are like me that just want to go out and capture that beauty, because the people who have the money have made that less attainable, I guess. So I have a harder time now finding the things that I can actually get into and get to that are not so heavily secured that I can't get to it, or I'd have to call 10 different people and be in communication with 10 different people to get access. But the thing about photography that I have learned, and I will continue to be reminded of, is it's not for the weak, it is for the adventurous. You definitely cannot be weak and do photography at all. There's no part of it that caters to that. Photography will quit on you the moment you give up, so it's all about the effort you put into it. So my anxiety it's funny because my anxiety is definitely peaked whenever I'm like, okay, I'm getting ready to, and so it's excitement and it's nerves, because you never know what you're going to encounter when you go out to these locations, especially ones that are not in the middle of complete nowhere. Nowhere, Texas is probably easier to shoot in as a general thing, because there's those really, really small towns that have those old factories or those old mills or whatever it was. Those aren't a big deal. Like, there's not 50 people showing up a month to try to do something with it, and the few that do show up, it's more of a wonderment, I think, for the people who live locally around that, because they themselves don't get that very often. But ones that are more central or much more populations drive past them a lot more, I'm sure they get a lot more of this type of interest. So hopefully my endeavors won't be thwarted today. I've been kind of visualizing this for a little while now, and decided today was a good day and all the factors to show up and try it out. So, but anyways, okay, well, here I am, I'm doing it, and I guess I will be back here after I'll be returning back after my expedition and see how it goes. Hopefully it's a success, and nature works with me, so there we go. Okay, so I'll see you then. Hi there again. Okay, so just got done. So as per usual, as I suspected, most of these public places are guarded, and I was actually able to get in probably a good 40 minutes of shooting before I had the required security type guard type guy come by and it's private property, all that. So very accustomed to that. Pretty much anywhere shooting in public, even if I could see it from across the highway, is considered to be private property because everybody wants to be paid for their, you know, space, even if it's not being used for anything. So anyways, but I think I got some pretty good shots in. I'm happy about that. And like, this is the part of photography that I call the adventurous side, because if you ever shoot anything public, you're always going to encounter that type of you're always going to encounter that type of barrier, I guess, is the literal physical barrier of the space of the property. So if I can get some good shots in before I get kicked off property, hey, that's like, you know, but it's almost like part of the cat and mouse game of it all. But I did not realize how hot it was outside today. It's cloudy, but and it's only 70 degrees on the thermometer, but man, is it hot out today. So I feel really good now. I think, you know, doing this type of photography for me is energizing, and photography in general is very energizing for me. But for sure, kind of breaking some rules here and there, because I'm not a rule breaker by nature. So it's funny how this is the one avenue that I find myself going into the gray space of what I should and should not do. But as long as I'm not hurting anybody or harming anything, I know I'm fine. So anyways, well, I'm heading back now to my desk, and I will be getting these up and checking them out and seeing what we got. Hopefully I'll be able to make some good images out of this. But so thanks for coming along on the ride with me, and I will be seeing you next time. So have a good day.